Greetings, listeners, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of this freaky show. The Freaky Podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. I am your host, Travesty, and alongside me this evening,
Awkward Colin.
And the Freak Joe.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are here once again to celebrate week 2 of this Halloween celebration. Hi, how's everyone doing tonight?
Doing good.
It's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad. Quick reminder to everyone, during the entire month of October, we are celebrating Halloween, everything ghoul and gruesome, if you will. So if you want to get in contact with us and talk to us, get interactive with the show, use the hashtag FreakySaying16 on Twitter. Share your Halloween stories, your favorite costumes, stuff like that. It's always exciting to hear from our listeners. Joey, how's everything going with you?
It's good. It's good. I would like more listeners to send me stories, though.
Yeah, I would love for that to happen.
I've gotten a grand total of none.
I think what it is, I think people are a little nervous about sending in their works, thinking that people are going to judge them on it.
Well, just for them today, I have picked out a story from Irish folklore with a lot of words I can't even pronounce. So if I'm a total embarrassment to myself on our podcast, they should feel absolutely no embarrassment sending me their stories. Put yourself out there, folks. You'll be rewarded for it.
That's good. Colin, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. Anything new and exciting in your life?
No. Just have vacation coming up, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah. Flying off to
Washington.
There you go.
Not D.C. Not that shithole.
No, the good one.
The one on the other side of the country.
The good one with the sparkling vampires and the coffee.
Exactly. I love me some Edward.
Oh, you're Team Edward?
I don't have a team, Joe.
I'm Team Billy Black.
I'm Team Jacob. Ooh, Billy Black. Good call.
I know, right?
Bravo.
I love me some Billy Black.
Who's Billy Black?
He's it's not
I believe he's Jacob Black's either father or grandfather.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't think it's his father, but yeah, it might be a grandfather.
I honestly don't remember which.
I know. If the listeners know, use the hashtag FreakySaying16. Let us know who Billy Black was in Twilight. And don't act like you don't guys listen to Twilight. Everyone listens to fucking Twilight or watch Twilight.
Gil Birmingham.
Oh. Nifty. Well, listeners, just like last week, and just like for the 2 weeks coming ahead of here, Joey, like he mentioned, will be reading a story at the end of our episode for us. So I'm so excited for that because it makes me talk a lot less. And and we actually have another guest from the past coming on to share with us some of his fucking
accomplishments.
What's the word? No. I'm trying to think of a fucking awesome word for his creation. What's a good word?
I am actually at a loss of words for once.
I know, right? Anyways, we have CJ from Rebirth of the Gangster come back on to talk to us about his new installment or his next installment of his series. So I'm really excited for that. And we're going to have him coming on here real quick. Before we do that, I just want everyone to know, and I want to share this with everyone because I feel like we're like a family here at this freaky show, this freaking show, however you want to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been doing this now for almost a year. And one of the enjoyments that we have from doing this is that we develop so many friendships, which has been great with Fear and Clint. The You Again podcast, Zombie with a Shotgun, CJ from Rebirth of the Gangster and everything. I would have to say that the person that I put on the top of that list is the awesome owner from the amazing Fire Pit Bar and Grill of Peatown!
Woo!
Where you get burger and beer every Monday and Wednesday for just $6.99, or if you're a morning person and you need something to get that hangover over from the Friday night that you went out and got fucked up, go get some breakfast at Fire Pit Bar and Grill from 7 to 11 a.m. now. They got amazing skillets and omelets and pancakes that will just make you wake up in excitement. Plus, they got fucking biscuits and gravy. Everyone loves biscuits and gravy. And if somebody says biscuits and gravy is not good, stop talking to them because you don't deserve that kind of negativity in your life.
Hey, I don't think biscuits and gravy are good.
Because you're the kind of person that develops negativity in people's lives.
Well, okay. I'm sure that's what it means.
We do got to admit that primetime skillet is probably one of the best things.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right?
That was a good fucking
That
skillet.
next time I'm in.
Joey, you need to get that next time you're in. You need to. Next time you come in, let me know. You, me, Colin. You can bring Maddie. That's okay. I'm not going to judge.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it's a party for all. Everyone's invited. We'll go get some fucking skillets, and it'll be epic. It'll be awesome. It'll be amazing because everything at Fire Pit Bar and Grill is amazing, from the burgers to the briskets to the pancakes. Everything is so goddamn good there. And you can find them at Facebook at Fire Pit Bar and Grill or the website firepitbar.com. Anyways, listeners. It is that time now where we are going to bring on CJ to discuss with us his installment to his new comic book series. CJ, thank you again for joining us on this freaky show.
Thanks again for having me, guys. I've had a blast with the other 2 times, and I'm excited for this 3rd time.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah. So just real quick to kind of refresh everyone's memory, you want to give them an idea of who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name, I'm CJ Standal, a self-published author of Rebirth of the Gangster. It's kind of a thriller noir series there have been 3 issues so far released. The 4th one should be coming out in this week of November here. Again, I've had that coming out. I work with the great Juan Romero, who's the artist for all 3 issues. He's just doing his best to make me look good. And the series itself is essentially about these 2 guys, Marcus and Hunter, who, through some shady connections in the past that we don't know yet as readers, of course I do as a writer, but they're connected through some things, including some sort of death in the family, and so they're kind of slowly figuring that out while Hunter knows a little more, and he's kind of creating this plan to get some sort of revenge. And kind of while that's going on, Detective Lorena Sanchez has kind of been coming in the mix, especially the 3rd issue, which heavily focused on her. And so she's going to kind of come in and kind of start circling in on them as they're kind of both descending into these criminal acts. Hunter, who's been kind of part of a criminal act just for more longer, is kind of sucking Marcus into these criminal acts as part of some big plan that, again, the reader doesn't know, but of course I do at this point. So that's kind of what's going on. I had a Kickstarter for the 2nd issue, which was super successful, and I was super appreciative for, and so I've just been kind of on the schedule of releasing one every two months ever since that, because I also teach high school English, so I do have to kind of juggle a little bit of a different pace than maybe some other comic writers.
Right. So, yeah, I love this new issue, at least as much as the other 2, maybe even more.
Thank you. I think it's my best yet, but yeah, that's maybe bias talking.
Yeah. So I loved the you're layering complexity on, and I'm a really big fan of that because in the first one it focused a lot more on just Marcus, and then in the second one we got introduced to Hunter, and you kind of went back and forth between Hunter's past and present and a little bit of Marcus, and then in this most recent one we've got an introduction to Lorena. I'm really bad.
Lorena, yeah.
Lorena. And then you also had the Hunter and Marcus stuff, as well as the back and forth between the past and present. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, thank you. And I do appreciate you're saying, I'm layering complexity on, and that's definitely something that's going to kind of continue as we go forth. I'm not going to keep adding characters endlessly, though, but there are a couple more characters that will be the focus. So, for instance, the 4th issue is going to focus on Marcus's mom and some of her past, because some action she's doing in the present and in the past, of course, will heavily influence all 3 of those characters you mentioned, Marcus, Hunter, and Lorena. So there will be kind of, I guess it's layering on complexity, not necessarily in adding new characters, it's just adding more background to the characters who have existed beforehand. And so, I really appreciate the kind words, and I think you're hitting the nail right on the head with talking about kind of how each issue's evolved and kind of added those layers. So yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad that I'm onto something, because a lot of times I'm not.
I know how that feels too, especially after, for me, long days of teaching, and I start to question my own sanity sometimes. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
So
I'm
you
the type
mentioned
of person
the,
who can never follow anything, so.
Oh,
Well, hopefully you're still following mine, but yeah, I get
Yeah.
it too. We all, and sometimes maybe, I know I've had to reread some things too, so we all have, things we're strong in, and sometimes we need, things pointed out.
yeah, absolutely. Trying to think. You mentioned that there's a grand scheme going on between Hunter and Marcus and some other criminal people we haven't really met a whole lot yet.
Yes, there is.
What I'm curious is, I don't necessarily want to spoil anything.
Sure,
But,
I get it.
Will we find out going forward whether or not Hunter was waiting on that corner for Marcus to show up?
Yes, you'll definitely find that out. That you'll find out pretty quickly. I would say the biggest reveal so far of what connects them in the past is actually going to happen in the 6th issue, which is the culmination of the first story arc. A little bit more will be revealed after that, but that's where there's going to be something very powerful revealed. I'm super excited about that scene, because it's not just going to be a scene to reveal that situation. There's actually going to be some violence and some cool, I guess, entertainment that in that sense. That's going to kind of go hand in hand with revealing some of the stuff in the background from the past. So, yes, you'll get slowly things get teased out, or you'll get some answers more and more. And you will find out whether Hunter was waiting for Marcus or not on that corner pretty quickly. And then kind of the biggest thing, like I said so far, the big thing that's setting Hunter off. We'll hear about it at the end of this first story arc on the 6th issue. Although we'll get some more details as we go past that first story arc.
Gotcha. Fantastic. So,
What would you say?
No,
Do you think he's waiting there for him? Do you think Hunter's waiting there? Seems heavily coincidental, right?
it does seem too coincidental. I think he was waiting there, but
Yes.
I'm not 100% positive, because it was so. If he was waiting there, I almost feel like that other guy waiting to mug Marcus must have been in on it. You know?
Yes. I'm not going to reveal anything specifically, but you might be onto something there, yeah.
Right. Yeah, like they're either working together, or that was one hell of a coincidence, is all I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and there might be some story coincidences just because we all know the plot coincidences that can happen, but I think that might be too big of a coincidence to really be just a coincidence. So I think you're onto something, yeah.
Okay. That's what I suspected, but all right. I'm trying to think. There was other questions I had about this issue. I wanted to touch on. There was one heck of a plot event that happened. In the previous issue, when we were introduced to Hunter, we found out that one of his main motivations was his mom.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And something with her changes pretty significantly, and so I'm curious to see going forward how that affects Hunter's motivation.
So we definitely will see kind of the outcome of that the one-page scene you're talking about. There was just wordless, just some images that revealed something kind of bigger going on with his mom. That'll kind of be. I think it's something like page 7 or something like that. It's pretty early on in the next issue, which I've scripted 17 of the 21 pages, so I'm pretty close to being done. I know the last couple scenes, I know what's going to happen in them. I just need to script them. And Juan Romero's been illustrating. He's pretty much caught up to me, so I kind of got a little fire lit under my butt to get things going. But yeah, we'll definitely see that there's going to be a new stage, I guess, in that kind of like Hunter and his mom's relationship, Linda, and kind of that motivation for this whole series. Yeah, or at least Hunter's motivation for this whole series is going to be. We're going to start seeing some more complexity in theirs with that too. Yep.
Gotcha. I can't remember what page it's on, but there's a scene. There's one of the boxes. Is that the right word? Frames.
Yeah.
Shows Detective Lorena. She's going out to the police. I assume she's a detective.
She is. Yep. And she's, I mean, I haven't quite explicitly stated it, but she's part of the robbery and homicide division, which is maybe not, I mean, normally we see them separated in literature or TV shows as just like a homicide or robbery division, but I do know that, and I'm trying to think of, I read this, some sort of nonfiction book about like East LA or something like that, how there were homicide divisions working in there, and they do talk about how there are some detectives who are specifically in this robbery homicide division, which is kind of seen as like the elite of the elite go there, and that's kind of one thing that I haven't explicitly stated, but because she's a part of that, she's, I think, kind of the assumption, especially with the first interrogation scene you see a little bit of, is that she's really, really good at her job, and she's the elite of the elite. She's part of this special division, so that's kind of
right.
I
mean, she's definitely, people talk to her like she's Harry Bosch, you know.
Yeah. That's definitely on purpose.
And she's dressed kind of like Misty Knight from Luke Cage. So
yes, she is.
Yes.
Yep. I'm still about halfway through Luke Cage, so if you wouldn't mind not spoiling something.
Oh, not at all. I'll just tell you, I really love it.
Yeah, but
I really thought it was good.
Thank you. Yeah, and actually, I started watching that the Luke Cage a couple of days ago. Actually, on Friday is when I started. I was a little slower on the uptake because I know it was released before that. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that connection because as I was seeing Misty Knight, the more and more that I see her in that show, the more and more I'm like, wow, she's pretty similar to Lorena, and this kind of vibe I'm going for with Lorena. So it's kind of just a weird coincidence. I think the bigger influence on Lorena's character, at least like as far as like a robbery homicide detective goes, is I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen The Wire, but Detective Kima on The Wire, she's kind of heavily the inspiration for Lorena, although of course there are some more like, I guess, cultural influences that don't connect to Kima because Kima's I think supposed to be she's like an African American Asian kind of
right.
heritage. So there's definitely some different cultural things, but that kind of persona is definitely more like Kima, which coincidentally or not connects to what we see in Luke Cage with Misty Knight. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. But there was one scene. She's going into the parking garage and she's talking to who I assume is her significant other, and who.
Yep.
For some reason, I've got a vibe that it's a woman.
It is, yep. And so I did want to
hold that yet, or if it's just something that it feels that way.
There should have been, if I remember correctly, and obviously I should, but there should have been on the cell phone it said Anne, the name of her significant other. So yeah, she is. I mean, yes, definitely she's homosexual and she's lesbian. And I was trying to kind of work that in without making it super obvious, without making it like a super big point. But yeah, it was maybe more subtle because of that. And if people didn't catch up on it, they're definitely going to see something more about their relationship in the fourth issue, definitely.
That's good, too. But there was one particular frame I'm thinking of, and I don't know if this was what made me think of it, like what maybe made it stand out in my mind, but there's, I don't know if, and I also don't know if it was something that you decided or if Juan decided it,
yep.
But there's that one officer who looked at her with like the big grin on his face and the hands on either side of his head.
So I think
I wondered about that.
The very specific gesture that the other officer was making, I kind of did a general description for Juan, but he made it specific. The more specific direction I gave on that page you're talking to is when she's kind of making like the fake gun with her fingers, pointing it at herself to kind of show that she's not digging the conversation, at least at that very moment, because she's about to be going out on a case, and kind of the one of the big issues we're supposed to at least start seeing is that she's very dedicated to her job, almost maybe too dedicated, to the detriment of relationships like these. And so I did want, I think, I don't remember the specific direction, but I know I said something general about the other cop in the parking garage with her. But I think, Juan did what he always did and made it even better, made it more specific, more of a, something we can explicitly see and react to.
Gotcha. Yeah, the sense that she's definitely more dedicated to her job than her home life definitely came through, and so I wondered if it was just maybe he was reacting to her being a hard ass, like he was being a silly cop kind of person.
Yeah, it's more that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That was more the intent I had. Yeah, although.
Yeah. Sort of you talking to your honey?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm kind of joking around. Yep.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was I think I might have said like he's joking around with his facial expressions or something like that. That might have been like the script detail I gave, but yeah, it was amplified by what Juan does so well. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
she in return does like a gun to her head
Yep.
when
Mhm.
they're talking.
Yeah, she does, and that's again. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So it's just like they're just doing that whole play thing because they work together. It feels like.
Yeah, and I mean, not that I'm a cop, but I do know from at least like The Wire, a lot of the more cop shows, homicide, the ones that I see as a little more realistic, they do talk a lot about how like they almost have that like dark gallows humor, and in order to, I guess, cope with some of this stuff,
Oh yeah,
they
you gotta have a
they
sense of
use
humor.
you have that sense of humor, and I mean, I think we do that at least as a teachers, we do that when we're dealing with super intense events, and yeah, we just you gotta laugh to avoid crying, right? And so I think that sometimes it's that idea, coping, and so yeah, that's another smart pickup. Yeah.
Totally. That's fantastic, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am too, man. I really appreciate the enthusiasm, and yeah, it's definitely been helping me come back to each new issue with a little bit more energy, a little bit more dedication. The first one, obviously, it was I pretty much had no audience, and I just was worried about letting myself down, and now it's kind of come time letting guys like you and my other fans down. I don't want to do that, and so I kind of put in a little more effort to make it more layered, make it more interesting, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm really enjoying it, man. And you said the first week of November is what you're shooting for your next one?
Yes, I am. So whatever that Wednesday is, I don't have the date off the top of my head. But yeah, it's whatever the Wednesday is what I'm shooting for. I'm trying to make it the first Wednesday of every 2 months. So I'll actually quickly look that date up
It
here.
would be the second.
Second, awesome, thank you. Yeah, so like I said, I do have a couple script pages left to finish, and Juan does have to draw maybe 7 more pages or something like that, maybe 10 pages of half the comic. So we might be cutting it a little close, at least in terms of finishing it to get like advanced copies out to reviewers and guys like you. But at least it should be good to be all released by the second. If anything changes, of course, on my social media at CJ_Standal or on CJStandalProductions.com, I'll post some update. But other than that, yeah, the intent is Wednesday, November 2nd, first weekend of November, then first Wednesday of November, first Wednesday of January, kind of on that schedule.
Awesome, man. So you said this one's going to focus more on the backstory of Marcus's mother.
Yes.
Groovy. That's very cool.
And so there aren't actually going to be as many flashbacks to her past. It's just more working a little bit of there will be a little flashbacks to the past at the beginning, kind of like we've seen in each chapter. Starts with some flashbacks with some like monologue monologue that's like serves as kind of narration of that character. So we'll see that, but then actually there won't be any sort of other flashbacks, and it's just going to be more focused on something that happens. There's a pretty big event that happens right in those first pages with her, and that's going to be kind of the follow-up of that event is going to be more the focus for her story. Because some of the stuff that's part of her past, I don't want to reveal too much yet because it actually does connect to Hunter and like his motivation. So I don't want to ruin too much of it, if that makes sense.
Of course. So, and this is still in part of the Meet the Family arc, right?
Yep, yeah. So the first story arc, is Meet the Family, and that's partly why we have like a different character as kind of the focus of each issue. That'll continue a little bit past the story arc, but it's not going to be quite that structured of every issue is something one person's the focus. I think we'll start to see in the later story arcs more juggling of characters and more characters being the main focus, multiple characters being the main focus of issues. But since we're meeting the family, so to speak, meeting the characters, I did want to really have a solid basis for each character so that when we start to see how they interact and all that stuff later, there's, I guess, greater resonance, greater understanding of their motivations, all that stuff.
Awesome. That's fantastic. There's nothing I love more than getting into characters' motivations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I've had many conversations with friends, and we've always said if you've got the characters very well solidified, the story, the audience is going to follow, and the story is just going to kind of come naturally from the specificity and complexity of those characters and the power of those characters. So that was kind of my focus of, even though I do think there is definitely a heavy plot and suspense in all these sorts of, sneak peeks into the past connections. At the end of the day, the characters should be the reason we're reading the story, the reason we're relating, that we view it as like a human story and not just the work of this one geeky, bearded, glassed guy who teaches English at a high school.
Right. Oh man, that's great. Yeah, and I really love the trying to think of what I want to call it. Oh, the connection. Yeah, you were just talking about the connection. I love the connections that we're finding between the people in the past.
Yep.
Like Hunter and Lorena sort of being in detention together, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, that scene itself was not in my original plan for this issue, but it was just, again, like, kind of that, again, of that idea of plot comes naturally out of characters and their relationships and complexities. That was something that just naturally came out of when I was planning, the outlining the third issue in a little more detail than I had beforehand. It just seemed to make sense as something that would not just be also interesting, but really serve to develop these characters in the story mode. So yeah, thanks for noticing that. I'm glad I added it then.
Yeah, man, I loved it. It was really great. Like I try to, when I'm reading a comic book, I try to picture it cinematically, like how would it work on film or on a TV show. And, that scene is something that almost felt like it was out of the Breakfast Club,
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really glad you added it.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a good reference. That's definitely kind of the feel it is there of, the troubled kids coming to a little bit of a connection to each other at the very least. In this, it's detention, whatever you want to call it. But that's really, thanks for noticing that. And I'm proud of it, definitely. That's something that hopefully we continue to see happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, would you like to tell your listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, so again, on Facebook, you can just look up CJ Standal. Standal is Standal. I'm also on Twitter at CJ_Standal. And then my website is cjstandalproductions.com. So those are my main modes. I do also have like an Instagram account that's CJ Standal, but I'll be honest that I haven't posted anything on that probably since before our even last conversation. So yeah, Twitter is my main vehicle of communication, followed kind of by Facebook and my website. All those are the best ways to get a hold of me. And again, Wednesday, November 2nd, look on Amazon for the fourth issue. If there are any listeners here who are like, maybe they've heard about it before but they haven't checked it out, you can also buy the bundle packs of right now the first 3 issues. And when the 4th issue releases, I'll also release a bundle pack of all the first 4 issues, and the savings for that are around like 30%. So that's the best deal, especially for somebody who's not caught up on the story and wants to kind of read it all at once, which, even though I think it's exciting in these installments, I do think it achieves kind of some greater depth and resonance when it's all read together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the kind of thing that you can read more than once and get more out of every time. So.
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for. I would like to think that you can get things and understand the big picture and all that stuff on the first try, but some of the details that funnel into that big picture that make it a little more complex, that stuff you pick up on like multiple readings. And I think I've mentioned before on this show that 100 Bullets is one of my big influences on this comic. I have, of course, like TV shows and other influences, but as far as comics go, that's probably my biggest influence. And part of the reason it's an influence is that it is similar in that it's teasing out these small pieces that when you reread, you start picking up more of those details and see like the chain of events and the cause and effects and all that stuff. So that's
right,
totally
absolutely. And honestly, even if there weren't tiny bits in the story that you could go back and catch again, Juan does such an amazing job.
Oh yeah, there's part of me.
You could stare at individual frames for hours and not catch everything.
Yeah, you definitely could. And there's part of me, the little hater inside me, that's a little jealous when I read reviews and he gets all this glowing reviews and attention, and I'm like, I wanted to just focus on me because I sometimes am selfish that way. I know we all have that, but obviously credit where credit's due, that the reason that it's even half as good, if not even better than it, or half the reason it's good, if not way more than that, is all Juan's attention to detail, and he's really nailing that tone and that vibe with like his heavy use of like shading of the contrast between blacks and whites. So he's totally we're like really in sync, and I completely agree. He's just a true artist. My biggest fear is just that somebody big up will notice him, how great he is, and pick him up before he finishes this series with me, because he is that good, definitely.
Well, I hope it never happens.
Yeah.
Or I hope he gets success and gets picked up,
appreciate
but he
you and your
finishes this with me.
Oh yeah, that would definitely be the best.
I wish you all the success in the world as long as you bring CJ with you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping for. But again, we all know how
Or
harsh
vice
that
versa.
comic community and just the comic business can be. So any success he gets is, I love it, and I completely support him in doing whatever he needs to do if he does move on past that. But like I said, it's not happening right now, and I'm holding on to him as long as I can.
Gotcha. So, all right, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks again. I'll definitely be sure to send out the next issue to you guys when it's done, and I'd love to come back on for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. It's a pleasure each time, guys.
Same here.
And you guys have definitely been the most
stuff,
consistent supporters. Sorry, say that again?
I said I love talking about your stuff.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I also love talking about it and getting I have my girlfriend talk about it or give me feedback and other people, but it also helps to get people that don't know me, their feedback, and kind of see where they're coming from and what they're kind of getting, what they're maybe adding to it that I didn't necessarily think of, but that is definitely part of it, because obviously we know that a work of art isn't complete until it's read and added on to completed by people like you. So I really appreciate it, you and all the fans, and just I can't wait to keep working.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
That's awesome. CJ, before you get off, I just have a quick question. Being that it's Halloween season, the month of October and everything, we're spending the entire month celebrating it. And that's why I ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you have a comment on what your favorite costume was growing up as a kid, or any kind of like funny story you have from Halloween's past?
Ooh. Yeah, all right. So, as a kid, probably my favorite costume was my brothers and I would have those, like, the Batman and Superman costumes, and we'd go out there. So, obviously a comic fan. I'm a big fan of superhero stuff. In college and even post-college, I still did a lot of group costumes, and I would say the most fun of those was we did, like, the California Raisins. This might be a little bit of a dated reference, but
I remember them.
But so we had, like, inflatable instruments for everybody. I, of course, being like the diva I am, or the center of attention I want to be, I had the microphone, so I was the leader of the group. So I love that costumes just because it was fun. I love going in a group and kind of being part of something big like that. But also it just was awesome because every maybe hour or something, we would all look at each other and just without saying a word, we would just start fake breaking down out a song, and it was just really cool just to always do that. There might even be some YouTube videos that I'm not necessarily going to direct people to, but there are YouTube videos that show us breaking it down and maybe looking like the fools or geniuses we are. I don't know. So that's fun. If we're talking, I'm interested this year in doing I'd like to do a Last Man on Earth costume. I don't know if you guys watched that show at all with Will Forte. It's incredible. It's incredible, hilarious. Just a cool take on the virus, the kind of post-apocalyptic society type thing. But yeah, Will Forte's character, because he was alone for a while, grew out a beard heavily and long hair, and so that was something I was doing, and I was totally trying to get my girlfriend to do that, or to be part of that costume with me, because she's in the show. Little mini spoiler, married to and I'm forgetting her name. She was Mel on Flight of the Conchords. Kristen Shaw, that's her name. And so I was trying to get her to be Kristen Shaw's character and me to be that character, and she's not necessarily having it, or she wasn't having it because I was kind of just trying to tell her that we should do this instead of ask. Which might be my mistake. Might be my mistake there.
I guess love only goes so far, huh?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So that's kind of what's going on this year, and probably some of the bigger standout ones for me. Any other questions, guys?
No. I just with it being Halloween, I just had to get that in there real quick before we said our goodbyes and everything. I do appreciate you coming on. It's always a joy to sit here and talk to Oh god, what's the word? How come I can never think of the words I
Creator?
want to
No,
say? No, I want to say author, but like another word for author or
A writer?
yeah, I guess I don't know. We're gonna go with writer because I can't articulate words.
Sure,
Um, But
Both
you know
of
what?
us should be able to do that, but I can't think of it either.
I guess the word I was going for was artist because I'm not even talking about like the illustrations and everything, but it's the words that make the story. No, I'm not taking anything away from the guy who illustrated the book in any way because what he does is absolutely amazing. But you can't have a story without words,
Exactly.
and you blow it away every single issue. It's absolutely amazing, and it's like I said the first time I talked to you, and the second time I talked to you, it's like I've never been a huge comic book guy, but you completely turned that around for me with the releases of these comic books every single time. It blows me away by your skill as a writer and everything. So it's
that would mean a lot to me in any situation, but the fact that I'm still pretty new to this game means a huge amount. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and especially you're not the only one who said like I normally don't like comics, but I really am digging your comics. So it's cool to keep hearing that feedback. And maybe it's the cinematic style I'm kind of looking for that Joe kind of mentioned, I think, but I don't know what it is. Yeah,
but and that's the thing too. It's like from issue 1, it's like this. I mean, it seems like you're not new to this. It seems like you've been doing this for so long and everything. And the words are perfect. The stories flow, and the stories only flow based on what is said. And you make it to where like when I'm reading the comic books, like I'm using different voices for different characters inside my head as I'm doing it.
Oh, that's the best. That's probably the best compliment I've heard tonight. Yeah, so I really appreciate that. Yeah. Maybe the reason that is working so well, even though I'm new, is I am super obsessed with comics. I've had to actually, when I was moving in with my girlfriend, I had to sell some just for space issue reasons. And even when I was selling, I was buying some at half-price books to sell. She'd look at me and be like, "Come on, really?" But yeah, maybe it's because of that, and being the English teacher, I've of course written some other stuff kind of creatively, just not comics, and I've given feedback to a lot of students, and I try to tell my students when I tell them to give feedback that part of the reason that they should do it is totally selfish. That giving other people good feedback makes you think about stories and writing and all that stuff better, and I would say that hopefully that's kind of been the reason, or part of the reason why that it's working so far. So yeah. I appreciate it, and I'm hopefully you're gonna get better and better, even though I'm starting strong.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite classes in high school was creative writing, and that's because the class gave me an opportunity to express myself through stories and through word and everything. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of English teachers. I went to school, college. I attempted college. I gave it up because there's no money in teaching.
Nope, not at all. I know that all too unfortunately.
But when I went, like my first goal was to be an English teacher. I wanted to do creative writing. I wanted to do poetic forms. I wanted to get kids to use their minds to create stories that they have inside their heads. But by the end of the day, when push comes to shove, the biggest thing you need in order to be a teacher is have a great a vast knowledge of grammar and punctuation and shit. And when
so
when
I don't have the best knowledge of grammar, but I'm pretty good in other areas. Yeah.
Well, see, like that's me. Like I can sit there, I could read a story. I'm like, this story is awesome, deserves a fucking A. But then all of a sudden, you're like, well, there's not one period in this whole thing. That's the things I would miss because I would probably dive way too deep into these stories, where without punctuation, without grammar, you can't probably educate a child on how to do writing. So right. I think that's why I felt my downfall was, so that's where eventually I let my passion of that going. Once in a while, I still have ideas and stuff like that. I actually think I do want to start writing something. Probably do it sooner rather than later. Which actually, if I started now, we probably could have read it during Joe's Freaky Tales at the end of the show. But by the time I get the story done, we'll be done.
I think I've maybe mentioned this. I think you've mentioned this in one of our last conversations, and in response, I probably said the same thing. But if you ever want to shoot something out for feedback, send it my way. I think you guys have my email. I know at least Joe does. Definitely send it my way if you're ever looking for some feedback and some I guess the perspective of somebody who's done it, who's working pretty well, but maybe has made some minor mistakes that I would do a little bit differently. So yeah, if you ever want some support in that way, or just even reading and then kind of supporting and I guess putting it out there on my Twitter and all that stuff, just let me know.
Absolutely. The biggest thing I always want to do is be graded again on a set.
Well, I'm a tough grader, but
yeah, I can't stand those smart ass kids that make that curve and shit. It's,
yeah. I've never been a fan of curves. It should be more about how you grew and what you're doing, and that's kind of more what I bring to the table as a teacher.
I think that's why Joey didn't have a lot of friends in school. But CJ, thank you again for coming on. It's always a blast, and I can't wait to have you back on when the next issue comes out.
Yeah, me too. Thanks a lot, guys.
You have a good night, sir.
You too, guys.
Yep.
See you later. I said bye.
All right.
CJ, it's always a joy to have him on.
Yeah, you can find his stuff on Amazon. Just search Rebirth of the Gangster.
Yeah, I actually noticed that when I was doing some Amazon shopping with the money I don't have.
That's awesome. Yeah, me too.
It's my guilty pleasure right there. It's like, why go out and buy stuff when you could just have it delivered to your house?
Right?
If I could do that
I stop with no pants on.
Right? I just ordered fucking underwear. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. That and multivitamins. But they're actually, multivitamins are actually cheaper on fucking Amazon than they are at any store. Anyways, enough about Amazon. We are getting to my favorite segment of the month. We are now going into Joey's Freaky Tales. Joey, take it away.
Sure. So this is an old Irish tale my wife drug up for me called Cruachan. Cruachan? Sorry, she's standing right here and making sure I'm saying this right. Cruachan. There it is, Cruachan.
Now, with this being an old Irish tale, would you be using an Irish accent?
I can try, but the second it gets bad, I'm out of it.
Well, commit as far as you're willing to go.
Sure.
And
now I gotta like get into it here with a little, Topa Marnin.
Yeah, no, don't go leprechaun on it.
Well, I know, but I get into it just sort of doing it there.
Just throwing out a
I start at the high end and I come back down, and then my wife stares at me like, I need to be not doing this podcast, and then all of a sudden I'm British, I'm fucking Londoner. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I can't keep it steady anymore, man. I don't practice it as much as I used to.
Hey, how do you spell that title?
Cruachan. Cruachan.
Cruachan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All
right, Joey, whenever you're ready, man.
All right. Now, as to Cruachan, the home of Ailill and Maeve, it is on the plain of Mag-I, it was, in the province of Connaught, and this is the way the plain came by its name. In the time long ago, there was a king whose name was Conn, that had the druid power, so that when the Sheed themselves came against him, he was able to defend himself with enchantments as good as their own. And one time he went out against them, and broke up their houses, and carried away their cattle, and then, to hinder them from following after him, he covered the whole province with a deep snow. The Sheed went then to consult with Dalek, the king's brother, that had the druid knowledge even better than himself, and is what he told them to do, to kill 300 white cows with red ears, and to spread out their livers on a certain plain. And when they had done this, he made spells on them, and the heat the livers gave out melted the snow over the whole plain and the whole province. And after that the plain was given the name of Mag-I, the plain of the livers. Ailill was the son of Ross Ruath, king of Leinster, and Maeve was the daughter of Eochaid, king of Ireland. And her brothers were the three fair twins that rose up against their father and fought against him at Drum Criad. And they were beaten in the fight and went back over the Sionin, and they were overtaken and their heads were cut off, and brought back to their father, and he fretted after them to the end of his life. 7 sons Ailill and Maeve had, and the name of every one of them was Main. There was Main Mathermael, like his mother, and Main Othramel, like his father, and Main Moepert, the talker, and Main Milskatath, the honey-worded, and Main Ando, the quick, and Main Mingor, the gently dutiful, and Main Morgor, the very dutiful. Their own people they had, and their own place of living. This was now the appearance of Cruachan, the royal house of Ailill and of Maeve, that some called Cruachan of the poets. There were 7 divisions in the house, with couches in them. From the hearth to the wall, a front of bronze to every division, and of red yew with carvings on it. And there were 7 strips of bronze from the foundation to the roof of the house. The house was made of oak, and the roof was covered with oak shingles. 16 windows with glass there were, and shutters of bronze on them, and a bar of bronze across every shutter. There was a raised place in the middle of the house for Ailill and Maeve, with silver fronts and strips of bronze around it, and 4 bronze pillars on it, and a silver rod beside it, the way Ailill and Maeve could strike the middle beam and check their people. And outside the royal house was the dun, with the walls about it that were built by Brock, son of Blar, and the great gate. And it is there the houses were for strangers to be lodged. It is out of that hill a flock of white birds came one time, and everything they touched in all Ireland withered up, until at last the men of Ulster killed them with their slings. And another time enchanted pigs came out of the hill, and in every place they trod, neither corn nor grass nor leaf would sprout before the end of 7 years, and no sort of weapon would wound them. But if they were counted in any place, or if the people so much as tried to count them, they would not stop in that place, but they would go on to another. But however often the people of the country tried to count them, no 2 people could ever make out the one number. And one man would call out, "There are 3 pigs in it," and another, "No, but there are 7." And another that it was 11 were in it, or 13, and so the count would be lost. One time Maeve and Ailill themselves tried to count them on the plain, but while they were doing it, one of the pigs made a leap over Maeve's chariot, and she in it. Everyone called out, "A pig has gone over you, Maeve." "It is not," she said. And with that she caught hold of the pig by the shank, but if she did, its skin opened at the head, and it made its escape. And it is from that the place was called Mag Macruma, the plain of swine counting. Another time, Frick, son of Edoth, of the men of Connaught, that was son of Bowen's sister, Bethan from the Shid, came to Cruachan. He was the most beautiful of the men of Ireland or of Alban, but his life was not long. It was to ask Findabar, his wife, he came, and before he set out his people said, "Send a message to your mother's people, the way they will send you clothing of the Shid." So he went to Bowen, that was at Meg Breg, and he brought away 50 blue cloaks with 4 black ears on each cloak, and a brooch of red gold with each, and pale white shirts with looped beasts of gold around them, and 50 silver shields with edges, and a candle of a king's house in the hand of each of the men, knobs of carbuncle under them, and their points of precious stones. They used to light up the night as if they were the sun's rays. And he had with him 7 trumpeters with gold and silver trumpets, with many-colored clothing, with golden, silken heads of hair, with colored cloaks, and 3 harpers with the appearance of a king on each of them, every harper having the white skin of a deer about him, and a cloak of white linen, and a harp bag of the skins of water dogs. The watchman saw them from the dun when they were coming into the plain of Cruachan. "I see a great crowd," he said, "coming toward us. Since Ailill was king and Maeve was queen, there never came and there never will come a grander or more beautiful crowd than this one. It is like as if I had my head in a vat of wine, with the breeze that goes over them." Then Freke's people let out their hounds, and the hounds found 7 deer and 7 foxes and 7 hares and 7 wild boars, and hunted them to Rath Cruachan, and there they were killed on the lawn of the dun. Then Ailill and Maeve gave them a welcome, and they were brought into the house, and while food was being made ready, Maeve sat down to play a game of chess with Freke. It was a beautiful chessboard they had, all of white bronze, and the chessmen of gold and silver, and a candle of precious stones lighting them. Then Ailill said, "Let your harpers play for us while the feast is being made ready." "Let them play indeed," said Freke. So the harpers began to play, and it was much that the people of the house did not die with crying and with sadness. And the music they played was the 3 cries of Uithne. It was with Uithne, the harp of Dagda, that first played those cries the time Bowen's sons were born. The first was a song of sorrow for the hardness of their pains, and the second was a song of smiling and joy for the birth of her sons, and the third was a sleeping song after the birth. And with the music of the harpers and the light that shone from the precious stones in the house, they did not know the night was on them, till at last Maeve started up, and she said, "We have done a great deed to keep these young men without food. It is more you think of chess-playing than of providing for them," said Ailill. "And now let them stop from the music," he said, "till the food is given out." Then the food was divided. It was Lothar used to be sitting It was Lothar used to be sitting on the floor of the house, dividing the food with his cleaver, and he not eating himself, and from the time he began dividing, food never failed under his hand. After that, Frek was brought into the conversation house, and they asked him what it was he wanted. A visit to yourselves, he said, but he said nothing of Findabair. So they told him he was welcome, and he stopped with them for a while, and every day they went out hunting, and all the people of Connaught used to come and to be looking at them. But all this time, Frek got no chance of speaking with Findabair until one morning at daybreak he went down to the river for washing, and Findabair and her young girls had gone there before him. And he took her hand and said, "Stay here and talk with me, for it is for your sake I am come, and would you go away with me secretly?" "I will not go secretly," she said, "for I am the daughter of a king and of a queen." So she went from him then, but she left a ring to remember her by. It was a ring her mother had given her. Then Frek went to the conversation house to Ailo and to Maeve. "Will you give your daughter to me?" he said. "We will give her if you will give the marriage portion we ask," said Ailo, "and that is 60 black gray horses with golden bits, and 12 milk cows, and a white red-eared calf with each of them. And you come to us with all your strength and all your musicians at whatever time we go to war in Ulster." "I swear by my shield and my sword, I will not give that for Maeve herself," he said, and he went away out of the house. But Ailo had taken notice of Findabair's ring with Frek, and he said to Maeve, "If he brings our daughter away with him, we will lose the help of many of the kings of Ireland. Let us go after him and make an end of him before he has time to harm us." "That would be a pity," said Maeve, "and it would be a reproach on us." "It will be no reproach on us the way I will manage it," said he. And Maeve agreed to it, for there was vexation on her that it was Findabair that Frek wanted, and not herself. So they went into the palace, and Ailo said, "Let us go and see the hounds hunting until midday." So they did so, and at midday they were tired, and they all went to bathe in the river. And Frek was swimming in the river, and Ailo said to him, "Do not come back till you bring me a branch of the rowan tree there beyond, with the beautiful berries," for he knew there was a prophecy that it was in a river Frek would get his death. So he went and broke a branch off the tree and brought it back over the water, and it is beautiful. He looked over the black water, his body without fault, and his face was so nice, and his eyes were very gray, and the branch with red berries between the throat and white face. And then he threw the branch to them out of the water. "It is ripe and beautiful," said Ailo. "Bring us more of them." So he went off again to the tree, and the water worm guarding the tree caught a hold of him. "Let me have a sword," he called out, but there was not a man on the land that would dare give it to him, through fear of Ailo and of Maeve. But Findabair made a leap to go into the water with a gold knife she had in her hand, but Ailo threw a sharp-pointed spear from above, through her plaited hair that held her. But she threw the knife to Frek, and he cut off the head of the monster and brought it back with him to land. But he himself had got a deep wound. Then Ailo and Maeve went back to the house. "It is a great deed we have done," said Maeve. "It is a pity indeed that what we have done to the man," said Ailo. "And let a healing bath be made for him now," he said, "of the marrow of pigs and of a heifer." Frek was put in the bath then, and pleasant music was played by the trumpeters, and a bed was made for him. Then a sorrowful crying was heard on Cruachan, and they saw 3 times 50 women with purple gowns, with green headdresses, and pins of silver on their wrists. And a messenger went, and I asked them who it was they were crying for. "For Frek, son of Edith," they said, "boy darling of the king of Sheed of Ireland." Then Frek heard their crying, and he said, "Lift me out of this, for that is the cry of my mother and of the women of Bonn." So they lifted him out, and the women came around him and brought him away to the hill of Cruachan. And the next day he came out, and whole and sound, and 50 women with him, and they with the appearance of the women of the Sheed. And at the door of the dun they left him, and they gave out their cry again, so that all people that heard it could not but feel sorrowful. It is from this the musicians of Ireland learn the sorrowful cry of the women of the Sheed. But when he went to the house, the whole household rose up before him and bade him welcome, as if it was from another world he was come. And there was shame and repentance on Ailo and Maeve for trying to harm him, and peace was made, and he went away to his own place. And it was after that he came to help Ailo and Maeve, and that he got his death in a river, as was foretold, at the beginning of the war for the brown bull of Cuilem. And one time the hill was robbed by the men of Cruachan, and this is the way it happened. One night at Samhain, Ailo and Maeve were in Cruachan with their whole household, and the food was being made ready. 2 prisoners had been hanged by them the day before, and Ailo said, Whoever will put a gad around the foot of the two men on the gallows will get a prize from me. It was a very dark night, and bad things would always appear on that night of Samhain, and every man that went out to try and come back very quickly into the house. I will go if I get a prize, said Nera then. I will give you this gold-hilted sword, said Idle. So Nera went out, and he put a gad round the foot of one of the men that had been hanged. Then the man spoke to him. It is good courage you have, he said, and bring me with you where I can get a drink, for I was very thirsty when I was hanged. So Nera brought him where he could get a drink, and then he put him on the gallows again and went back to Cruachan. But what he saw was the whole of the palace as if it was on fire before him, and the heads of the people of it lying on the ground. And then he thought he saw an army going into the hill of Cruachan, and he followed after the army. There is a man on our track, the last man said. The track is the heavier, said the next to him. And each said that word to the other from the last to the first. Then they went into the hill of Cruachan, and they said to their king, What shall be done to the man that has come in? Let him come in here, and I will speak with him, said the king. So Nera came, and the king asked him who it was had brought him in. I came in with your army, said Nera. Go to that house beyond, said the king. There is a woman there will make you welcome. Tell her it is I myself sent you to her, and come every day, he said, to this house with a load of firing. So Nera went where he was told, and the woman said, A welcome before you. It is the king sent you. So he stopped there and took the woman for his wife. And every day for 3 days he brought a load of firing to the king's house, and on each day he saw a blind man and a lame man on his back coming out of the house before him. They would go on till they were at the brink of a well before the hill. Is it there, the blind man would say. It is indeed, the lame man would say. Let us go away, the lame man would say then. And at the end of 3 days, as he thought, Nera asked the woman about this. Why do the blind man and the lame man go every day to the well, he said. They go to know, is the crown safe that it is in the well? It is there the king's crown is kept. Why do these two go, said Nera. It is easy to tell that, she said. They are trusted by the king to visit the crown, and one of them was blinded by him, and the other was lamed. And another thing, she said, go now and give a warning to your people to mind themselves next Samhain night, unless they will come to attack the hill, for it is only at Samhain, she said, the army of the Sheed can go out, for it is at that time all the hills of the Sheed of Ireland are opened. But if they will come, I promise them this, the crown of Brian to be carried off by Idle and by Maeve. How can I give them that message, said Nera, when I saw the whole dun of Cruachan burned and destroyed, and all the people destroyed with it? You did not see that indeed, she said. It was the host of the Sheed came and put that appearance before your eyes. And go back to them now, she said, and you will find them sitting round the same great pot, and the meat has not yet been taken off the fire. How will it be believed that I've gone into the hill, said Nera. Bring flowers of the summer with you, said the woman. So he brought wild garlic with him, and primroses and golden fern. So he went back to the palace, and he found his people round the same great pot, and he told them all that had happened to him. And the sword was given to him, and he stopped with his people to the end of a year. At the end of the year, Ailill said to Nera, We are going now against the hill of the Sheed, and let you go back, he said, if you have anything to bring out of it. So he went back to see the woman, and she bade him welcome. Go now, she said, and bring in a load of firing to the king, for I went in myself every day for the last year with the load on my back, and I said there was a sickness on you. So he did that. Then the men of Connaught and the black host of the exiles of Ulster went into the hill and robbed it and brought away the crown of Brian, son of Smetra, that was made by the smith of Angus, son of Umor, and that was kept in the well at Cruachan, to save it from the Morrigu. And Nera was left with his people in the hill, and he has not come out till now, and he will not come out till the end of life and time. Now one time the Morrigu brought away a cow from the hill of Cruachan to the brown bull of Culain, and after she brought it back again his calf was born. And one day it went out of the hill, and it bellowed 3 times. At that time Ailill and Fergus were playing draughts, for it was after Fergus had come as an exile from Ulster, because of the death of the sons of Usnach, and they heard the bellowing of the bull-calf in the plain. Then Fergus said, I do not like the sound of the calf bellowing. There will be calves without cows, he said, when the king goes on his march. But now Ailill's bull, Finnbanach, the white-horned, met the calf in the plain of Cruachan, and they fought together, and the calf was beaten, and it bellowed. What did the calf bellow? Maeve asked her cowherd Bleigel. I know that, my master Fergus, said Bricriu. It is the song that you were singing a while ago. On that, Fergus turned and struck with his fist at his head, so that the 5 men of the chessmen that were in his hand went into Bricriu's head, and it was a lasting hurt to him. Tell me now, Bleigel, why did the calf bellow? Said Maeve. It is indeed, said Bleigel, that if its father, the brown bull of Culain, would come to fight with the white-horned, he would not be seen any more in Ai. He would be beaten through the whole plain of Ai on every side. And it is what Maeve said. I swear by the gods my people swear by. I will not lay down on feathers or drink red or white ale till I see those 2 bulls fighting before my face. And that is an old Irish Halloween tale.
Nice.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep. Didn't know where that was going until I got to the end.
I gotta say though, it's a nice change of pace from the norm.
Yeah.
I liked it. I realized something as I was sitting here enjoying your lovely tale. This is episode 50.
I wondered.
I was sitting there I Snapchatting myself because, I love myself and shit. And I wanted to put something about recording the show and stuff. And then when I looked up, I'm like, yeah, this is episode 50.
Wow.
We are halfway to 100.
Yep. We're only 2 away from the end of the season.
I know, right? So, God, season's coming up soon.
This is awesome.
It's got such an awesome thing. It's just an awesome feeling. We actually fucking hit 50 tonight on this show, on this Freaky show. Joey, once again, what was the name of that story?
Cruachan.
Cruachan. And who was the author of that?
It's no one knows. It was probably written in the 11th century.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I liked it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like at first I wasn't too sure about it, but then as you kept going, I think it's you that made it work.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm flattered. Yeah, it felt oddly biblical. Like there was a lot of, this person begat that person, but I thought it was interesting. So, and for those listening at home, Samhain is the ancient Irish word for Halloween.
Yeah.
So
you almost lost me at the very beginning. We started listing off the people, where all the names kind of sound the same. You just changed one syllable.
Right.
It was like you're naming off a bunch of fucked up dwarves.
Yeah. Well, apparently that person in the tale was a lot like George Foreman. They named all their kids Maine, just like George Foreman named all his boys George and all his girls Georgette.
That's absolutely fucking amazing. Speaking of amazing, Joe.
Yes.
What you freaky about this week?
I am freaking about. Sorry, I got to think about it here. I have 2 options that I'm thinking about. One, I'm reading this absolutely phenomenal history of America called White Trash. Real provocative name, and I think that's a shame because I think it's going to make a lot of people not want to read it. Mm-hmm. But it's a really interesting history of class in America. I'm about finished with that book, and it's been really, really good and fascinating. And then the other thing is we're doing a Bible study that I'm kind of leading, and the way it's working is we're not reading a version of the New Testament where they have chapters and verses, so it reads more like a story.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to have Luke finished for today, the Gospel of Luke, and it's an entirely different way of reading the text, and I'm really excited about it. So probably those are the 2 things I'm freaking on this week. If you don't mind me getting all academic.
Well, no, man, that's what you love to do.
That's true. How about you, Colin?
Me, I'm freaking out that I have vacation at the end of the week.
Yeah. How was Phantasma?
Phantasm?
Phantasm. That was last Friday, right?
Yes, that was actually last Friday. It was really good. We watched the original. on theater. It originally came out in 1979, and they remastered it for 4K and the big screen. So they played that, which was great. Brought back a lot of memories from watching that when I was a kid. And then after that, they also played a little beginning piece before the movie about two of the characters actually played a song at a convention here in Chicago 2 years ago from the movie. So it was basically, like I said, the two characters from the movie were actually at this convention and they played that song. It was really cool. Audio was a little bad, but
yeah,
it was great. I had a lot of fun. So
fantastic. I'm glad.
yeah. How about you, Travis?
Well, Colin's gonna be gone for the whole week, so I'm freaking on the fact that I get to walk around naked again without someone ogling my goodies.
But baby, I love ogling them.
Nah, I'm
you gotta
kidding.
watch out.
I actually started watching this TV show on Netflix called Shameless.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that?
It honestly is the dumbest fucking thing I saw for the first 3 episodes.
Uh-huh.
After that, it is the second dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
So why do you keep watching it if you don't not liking it?
It's. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that it is so. The best way I describe it to people when they ask me how I like it, it's literally Orange is the New Black outside of prison.
That's awesome.
Like I shit you not. It's a good show, but it's such a dumb fucking show because literally for the first 3 episodes, everybody's just fucking each other. All it is nudity and people just going at it. It baffles me. It baffles me. But at the same time, it hurts to know that there are actually families like that.
Right?
Joe, I don't know if you watched any of it.
I've seen like part of like season 6.
Okay. Well, you got this family, this family of I think it's like 5 children. It could be 6 children. I can't remember. 1, 2, 3, 5 children, and they're estranged, drunken dads never around. So they're all working together to pay for shit, stealing shit to eat and stuff like that. And it sucks because that's real life. And not only that, it's fucking Chicago. It's
right.
Based in Chicago, and it's just it makes absolute sense. So,
yeah, that's the worst part about it. Is it's like, oh man, I know people like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna finish up the last episode of season 1, and then I'm gonna move into season 2. So I recommend people watch it because if you like the Orange is the New Black, it's basically like that but with less lesbians. There's still lesbians, but there's just less of them.
Right, there's more straight people.
Yeah, and it has some minor corruptions with cops in it too, which again, I'm only in the first season, so it's not major corruption, but you get people who take their personal lives way too far into their professional lives, and there are people. It's goofy, but it's good at the same fucking time. I can't badmouth too much about it because it is a good show. Shit, it's still going, so obviously people are loving it.
Right.
But I'm gonna watch that over the weekend. I'll probably I got phones. I'm dispatching until middle of the week. That's in the middle of the week. I don't got them anymore. I'll probably jump on the rider and mow the yard. I don't know. Just relax, enjoy myself. Maybe I'll do some yard work and stuff like that. I'll probably
play with yourself in front of the window.
I do that now. I don't gotta fucking freak about it. But yeah, I'll be watching Shameless. I've just been on Netflix kick. Over the weekend when I had phones and shit like that. Friday night I didn't go to bed until I think 4 in the morning.
I think I saw your snap about that.
Yeah, well, it's just because The Ranch came out and I watched the 10 episodes of The Ranch, which I recommend watching The Ranch. It's absolutely amazing. I watched that. I watched some more Futurama. I watched Shameless. I watched a couple movies off of it. Thanks to a lot of my friends on Facebook who gave me some recommendations. GCR from Geek Cast Live, he recommended I watch Salem, Pennywise, and I think there was another one. I can't remember what the hell it's called. Suspect or a Usual Suspect, something like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I'm gonna look into those. A lot of people recommended Shameless, and then everyone else just recommended shit I either watched already or I have no interest in watching anymore. So yeah, I'm just gonna Netflix it up. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll invite some people over, hang out or some shit. I doubt it, but I got a couch and I enjoy me sitting in it.
Nice.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
Obviously, on this freaking show, you catch Geek Cast Joe, and of course, through the month of October, you catch the Freak Joe here on this freaky show. But when he's not spending his time here with us, where can people find you?
When I'm not over here on this freaking show or this freaky show, you can find me over the Geek Cast Live podcast at geekcastlivepodcast.com/podcast. Or if you hate that horribly long URL, just go to gcl.ninja. You can also find me on Facebook, iTunes, Twitter, then some other places by searching Geekcast Live.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned, 49 episodes before this one. You can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram just by searching This Freaking Show. We're on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and Google Play. We can hear all our episodes, all 49, including this one, which is now 50, on all of them just by searching This Freaking Show. Go to our website, thisfreakingshow.com. It has a link to Podbean and Stitcher right there on the front page. If you go to the Contact Us section, you can email us. Give us a story. If you want to be part of it, if you want to get involved in anything, let us know. We'll bring you on the show if you have something interesting to talk about. I mean, actually be interesting. Don't fucking waste my time. I mean, this is bullshit. And I'm totally kidding. Waste my time. I don't give a shit. I love talking to you guys. Use the hashtag FreakySaying16 on Twitter to contact us. Talk about Halloween, what you love about it, what you hate about it, the costumes you wear, the candy you enjoy getting, the parties you go to, something goofy, something awesome. I don't give a shit. As always, I am Travesty.
I'm Awkward Colin.
And I'm the Freaky Show.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of this freaky show. I'm out.